The theme rests on believing that when one sees the crown at, say, 8 or 10 feet, you believe it's the real thing. Now, when I got the idea from a very remarkable man who works close to the royal household, I told him very firmly there is no way anyone could steal the crown jewels. He then told me how it could be done, and it was so simple. I've known Alan for over 30 years and hold him in the highest regard. We first met when I wanted a special present made for my wife, and he'd been recommended by a friend, and I thought the craftsmanship was superb. I'm with an old friend called Alan Gard, who I asked a year ago, can you produce the Imperial Crown that will be worn by His Majesty at the coronation, and do it in such a way that no one will be able to tell the difference? Quite a challenge, even for one of the greatest craftsmen on earth. And that's why I'm here. We gave you this immense challenge. Last January, that's just over a year ago, I said I want to do something that is going to be a hell of a challenge, even for someone with your knowledge and reputation. I want to produce the crown, and I want, for the layman like myself, not to be able to tell the difference.
I've been making jewellery since I was 15 for 70 years, and now I've been given the task of recreating the crown. We're doing it by hand because the way I was taught was handmade jewellery, and no computers or CADing has been used at all, and I've made it exactly the same way as the one originally was made a few hundred years ago.
You always said the outer construction would be very demanding, even before you put the stones in, which I hadn't thought about, because I remember showing people your picture of the outer construction and they gasped. They see the crown, and they don't think about what you have to do.
At the moment, I'm holding two parts of the crown, which is completely handmade. We started with the metal, nearly 2 millimeter thick, and slowly bent up the two halves of a ball. It's now ready to go to the setters, and after the stones are in, will be placed together and fitted together. The top section of the ball is a square section. It's beginning to put the stones in, and this will be fitted on top of the crown. This is the top piece.
Right on the top. That's the piece that goes on the top.
Yes. No machinery used at all in putting every stone in. Every stone is individually set by hand.
And so there's an example of what one of these things will look like. But I was asking you, I said, look, Alan, I can still see the bronze effect. How will you get rid of that?
The last thing, after all the stones are in, everything gets platinum or rhodium plated to make it white.
So, in your opinion, where are we?
We're probably 2/3 of the way there now.
I couldn't afford to have a craftsman who couldn't deliver something of such magnificence that when you walked past it, you weren't in any doubt. It was the 1937 Imperial State Crown. Oh, wow.
There it is.
Wow. So when I came to you 17 months ago, Alan, and said, I need an exact copy of the real crown, what was your first reaction? Were you ever daunted and think, oh my God, this isn't going to ever happen?
Yes, soon after it started, had a few issues with, I'm sure this is going to be more difficult than I imagined, and at one point I thought I might ring you up and say I'm not sure about this.
I can't do it.
I can't do it. But that was just in the evening and in the night, and the next day it didn't seem as difficult.
And how long did this one take?
I worked on it for a few hours every day, and probably roughly 500 hours if you can consider all the setting that was spent on it, setting the stones and the making, fitting together, probably around the 500 hours, yes.
Wow. Here is your final effort at producing the Imperial State Crown. And if you were as far away from it as we're only a yard away, will the public be able to tell any different?
From a distance, no.
What about an expert like you? Could you spot at 6 foot, could you tell?
No, from 6 foot away I wouldn't be certain.
You couldn't tell the difference between the real thing?
No.
Let me end by saying, Alan, people criticize our great country, and they say that we don't have the craftsmen any longer. Well, you've proved them wrong.
Okay, yes.
Many, many congratulations.
This is made exactly the way that possibly it would have been made originally.
Good
almost.
Good. Bravo.